Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It is time for your Friday Fairy God Lawyer update. I have my Fairy God Lawyer wand here, and I am ready to douse you with my legal knowledge. So I've been looking into the updates on all things CARES Act stimulus money. And the good news is that today President Trump did sign law that added another $484 billion to replenish the coronavirus relief money. So that's the good news. And 320 billion of this is also going to replenish the now infamous, really, PPP loan, which ran out of money pretty quickly after it was launched. So that is the good news. The bad news is that there are so many people in line and waiting and have their applications in the queue that, it's just probably not going to get as far as we'd like, and it's probably going to run out just as quickly as the first round. So we don't know if there's going to be more rounds after this, but if you are in line, the best thing I could say for you is to continue. My advice is the same, what I said last week, which is get your ducks in a row. Make sure that if you have employees, that all your payroll records are up to date. If you're an independent contractor or a sole proprietor, make sure that you have your 2019 Schedule C ready to go so that you can prove what your payroll costs were for 2019. And if you need any help or any information on how to do that, I actually talked about that specific topic last week on my Friday Fairy God Lawyer update. So check out that video. But yeah, just hang tight and hopefully you'll be getting an email soon that says that you've made it to the next stage. I did reach out to my banker and he did respond and said, that they're working hard. In fact, let me pull up that email right now. What did he say? He said, I just want to let you know that our business team is working super hard, taking and reviewing applications manually. As much as I want to, I don't have power in this process. Everything is done online. Your application, from what you were saying, your application is moving, slowly but moving. There are 4 stages: application received, paycheck review, awaiting SBA approval, and lastly, funding. So I did get an email saying that I have moved to stage 2, which is paycheck review. So we'll see what happens with that. He did tell me that there's now a link on Chase's website to check the status of my application, which I will do later today. So hang in there. If you haven't already applied for the PPP loan anywhere, I do know that PayPal opened up a portal, and I've heard that some people have been having some luck there getting through. So might want to check that out as well. But at this point, to be honest, your best bet may really be unemployment. If you are a self-employed person and you're not getting any traction with the PPP loan, and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to have any business anytime soon. So I had a question posed to me by a friend, and the question was, can I get both the PPP loan and also collect unemployment? And the answer is a typical lawyer answer that, it depends and we're not sure. We don't really know in detail how these two programs interact with each other. But on April 14th, when the SBA released interim rules and guidance on the PPP loan for self-employed people, there was one sentence in there that said, you should be aware that participation in the PPP may affect your eligibility for administered unemployment compensation or unemployment assistance programs. So not clear on exactly how it's going to affect it, but sounds like it will. So I think that if you're considering between seeking unemployment assistance and a PPP loan and you're a self-employed person, the best thing that you could probably do is you need to calculate for yourself what would make more sense for you. So the first step would be to calculate how much you can really expect to receive from the PPP loan. And I did do more specific instructions on how to calculate that for yourself if you're a self-employed person in my live update last week. So go back and watch that video if you need to know how much money you can expect to even receive. So that'd be step one. Step two, then you're going to want to estimate how much you can expect to receive under the new expanded unemployment benefits. And by the way, in case you didn't know, there is a new expanded unemployment assistance program under the CARES Act, and it does allow self-employed people, sole proprietors, contractors, people who traditionally would not be eligible for unemployment to apply under this new expanded program. And it does allow for a minimum of $194 per week on the state side, and then an additional $600 per week on the federal side for not for the entire period of 39 weeks, which is the new expanded period for unemployment, but for a period of, I think it's either 12 or 16 weeks, an additional $600 per week. So there's actually a state calculator. Let me post that actually in the comments right here. So if you go to the California EDD website, there is an unemployment insurance calculator. Where do I post this? Here we go. So go there and run some numbers and see what you might be eligible for under state and federal unemployment. And then you're going to want to compare the two. So if you are eligible to potentially receive a PPP loan for $20,000, for example, let's say that your payroll costs from 2019 would allow you to get a PPP loan of $20,000, then that would probably be a better bet for you than unemployment. Because, for example, under the CARES Act, with a benefit of $194 per week times 39 weeks, that's going to get you to $7,566 total. And then if you add that additional $600 per week for 16 weeks, that's an additional $9,600. So your total benefit from unemployment over the 39-week period would be $17,166. So you're going to want to compare the two. You're not going to be able to get both for the same period. I think that's pretty clear. What you might be able to do is get a PPP loan right now, if you're in line and you do get processed, receive those funds, pay yourself for those 8 weeks, get that forgiven, and then apply for unemployment. That may be an option. Or at this point, you may want to just forego PPP altogether. To be honest, it's not looking good for the average small business owner, unfortunately. Unless you have your application in and it's been in for a long time, I can't say that there's very good chances that you're going to get funded at this point. You can still try, but it's not looking good. It's likely that the entire $320 billion is already spoken for, to be honest. Keep in mind that unemployment benefits are taxable income, so you are going to have to pay taxes on that money. And it's not actually that clear whether or not the PPP loan proceeds that you use to pay yourself would be taxable income to you. I was under the assumption that it would be because it's income and you're using it to replace your income. You have to pay taxes on your income. But it's not entirely clear. I was looking into that a little bit before this Facebook Live update. Didn't get a clear answer on that. So I'll look into that and see if I can update you all later on that specific aspect of the PPP loan. But yeah, just run some numbers and see what's going to be the best for you. If you're certain that you're going to be out of business or out of work for a period of longer than 8 weeks, then unemployment probably is a better option for you. If it's really just to get you through and your business is still going, but you've had a decrease in revenue and you think that you can make it if you just get a little bit of a extra assistance, then PPP might be better. I also want to talk about the EIDL loan and an update on that. So that's the one that I'm really the most interested in for myself. I did put in an EIDL, which is the disaster loan from the SBA. I put an application in on March 31st, so it's been a while. Didn't hear anything at all. This is the loan that, at first we all thought we were going to get that $10,000 grant, and then they reduced it to $1,000 per employee. So that for me would be one. I might be getting a $1,000 grant, but still haven't even received that. However, on April 19th, Sunday, I did notice that the SBA checked my credit. So I see that as progress, that I'm moving forward. I called today the Disaster Loan Assistance Hotline. I actually, once again, got through to a very nice live person. And what he told me was that it does take about 3 to 4 weeks. And what will happen is you'll probably just see that advance deposited into your bank account. That means that you've gotten through the queue. And then a few days after that, I should receive an email with a loan application if I want to apply for the EIDL loan, which I definitely do, especially because I asked him specifically on the phone if he had information about something that I've been wondering, which is, can I use the EIDL loan proceeds to pay credit card debt that for use of my business, credit cards that I've been using to operate my business during the coronavirus pandemic? And he said, yes, his answer was, you can use the EIDL proceeds for working capital, and it can be used for any legitimate business purpose. And I clarified, did that include expenses that I've been putting on credit cards for my business? And he said yes. So I think that that's a really great option for small business owners if you can get this loan. My understanding is you can get up to $25,000 without any type of personal guarantee. It's up to 30-year repayment terms, 3.75% interest. And so that would be really great to provide some cash flow for my business and to help with some expenses that have come up that are currently on credit cards for my business. And so definitely look into that. If you have some operational expenses that you would like to have favorable loan terms to help you pay them. What else? Let's see. For people who have an S corporation, there's been a lot of questions about how you apply for the PPP loan if you're eligible for the PPP loan. Unfortunately, for people with S corporations, the PPP loan is not the best option. And the reason is that you can only get a loan based on your payroll costs. And a lot of S corporation owners, they pay themselves either no salary at all or a very low salary. They take most of their income as a draw on the business. There's reasons unrelated to the PPP loan why this may or may not be a good idea, including potentially putting yourself at risk of an audit from the IRS. But that's a topic for another day. If you have an S corporation and you're paying yourself no payroll, even though you are supposed to be doing that, then the bad news is you're not going to have anything on which to base a PPP loan. You must have income to you that you've paid employment taxes on, which would either be a salary as an S corporation owner, or if you're an LLC and you have a pass-through entity, you haven't made an S corporation election, then the net income to you from operation of your LLC, or as a sole proprietor and independent contractor, all of your net income would have been subject to employment taxes. So bad news for S Corp owners that don't pay themselves a salary or a very, very low salary. At this point, probably the EIDL loan is your best bet. So I want to shift gears here for a second. I've been talking a lot about protecting your business using the CARES Act stimulus money. But I want to get back to a topic that I often also talk about, which is protecting your family and your children and yourself. I am very lucky that you see me here in my office, and this is my office that is in a separate structure right behind my house. So I'm still here working. I spend a lot of time at home already between being in my office and just being a homebody. My friends often wonder where I am. But so life for me, it just doesn't seem to have changed all that much. And but I am aware that outside of my doors, there is a whole world going on out there that maybe isn't completely in my forefront of awareness. I keep hearing about people who are infected with the virus, who know people who have died, who are dying, and it's just sort of surreal. And it just consistently brings back to my understanding and my awareness, death is something that we want to ignore. We fight so hard to ignore that it is knocking on all of our doorsteps, and we are all going to die. There is no way around that reality. And we can either ignore that fact until it's too late and leave the people that we love in a bind, and maybe even ourselves in a bind if we became incapacitated and we don't have the assistance from the people we need. Or we can do things ahead of time to show the people that we love just how much we cared, and take the steps to make sure that everything is handled in a way that you would want, and that creates peace and ease and comfort for those who matter most. And in that regard, a couple weeks ago, I did a webinar on Zoom for people who wanted to learn more about the four most important legal documents that you really need to have in place right now for yourself and your family, not just in light of the coronavirus, but in general in life, to make sure. We don't know what's going to happen. This situation has certainly made it clearer than ever how unpredictable life really can be. So I have that recorded, and I'm going to put the link to that in the comments here, because one of the things that I did as part of this, let me make sure I get that right, bit.ly/free healthcare directive. That should work. I spent a lot of time creating a free healthcare directive that you can get in place from your living room. No joke. I created a whole template with step-by-step instructions for exactly what you need to do to fill it out properly and get it remotely notarized with my remote notary contact, who is in Nevada. She's awesome. She's ready and waiting for you to make your appointment to notarize remotely your healthcare directive with her using audio video communication. It is legal. I did a lot of research on this. Yes, it is sort of outside the box thinking. We all think that a notarization requires a physical presence and a stamp. Here in California, it still does, but it doesn't in other states. And you are allowed to use a notary from another state to get your documents notarized. And I go into more detail on exactly why I believe that that's okay, especially in light of what's going on in the world. So please do me a favor. This weekend, click that link and get your healthcare directive in place. You're going to be happy you did it. Even if you don't watch the webinar, although I do recommend you do, because there's a lot of great info in there for you. But even if you don't, just go through the process, get your healthcare directive done, notarized. It's going to be, all the instructions are in there for you, and you're going to feel so good that at least you got that taken care of. And then if you want to talk to me about any more extensive planning for the protection of your family and your business, and creating your family and business legal fortress with your fairy god lawyer, then give me a call or send me a message, really. But at the very least, please do get your healthcare directive in place this weekend. That is my marching orders to you and my fairy god lawyer advice. So I think that is it. Let me just check and see if there's any questions. Rich says, this calculator doesn't apply to self-employed or independent contractors, correct? Actually, Rich, I think it does. I believe that this is the calculator that you can use to figure out how much you're going to be eligible for. Let me even find, let's see, if we even just go to California Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. I just Googled that and I'm pulling up the link now. So this is the link here that I'm posting, Rich, that's just to the EDD page on general information about pandemic unemployment assistance, which is the part of the program that extends it to self-employed people. So read that. It'll give you information about applying as a self-employed person. I believe officially applications start April 28th. And there's going to be plenty of information in there on that website for you on what you need to do to get ready. So that is it, everybody. Have a beautiful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy the warm weather. I hope you get outside in some way, in a safe and respecting social distance way. I will be on here again next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now.